Hey guys, Banana Luck here, and welcome back to another Watcher of Realms video. This video comes a bit late, but we're going to talk about the Brokkir and Valeriya banner that started today. And we're just going to talk through quickly both of these units, whether you should summon for it, and where are some of the niche areas that you might find them really helpful if you're lacking both of them. So we'll talk about Valeriya first. This is a great unit, but there's a lot more fighters that have come up ever since her launch. So when she first came out, I know whales were going for like A3 or even A5, just because she's that great. Back in the days where we didn't even have like Adeya, Lugaru, or Saga, because Lugaru and Saga were both S before they actually got their buffs. And she's great because of her talent. When she was first released on Forerunner, she was actually not that great of a unit, but ever since they added this talent, it's boosted her quite a bit. You can notice that this talent is actually quite similar to the Chaotic Lord buff, which is here. Increases faction team members' damage based on their lost HP to 60% at 30% HP. And you're gonna see that Valeria has the exact same numbers, just that this increases her attack and defense instead. Arguably a much better version compared to her chaotic buff. And she does physical damage here to one enemy, no AoE there, and she gets that one tower range. And then her first passive, every 20 seconds, she does this plunging slash, which basically deals uh, 300% damage, and it also inflicts vulnerability. I think this is the more important part for 10 seconds. And you can see that during her ultimate, each attack actually reduces the cooldown, which means that she can get 2 or 3 hits of plunging slash during her ultimate. And then her passive, when HP drops below 30%, restores 2% HP per second, which is 6% when you max this out. And most importantly, if she takes fatal damage during her ultimate, she actually enters unyielding state. And this ends when her ultimate ends, and it can only be triggered by up to one time per deployment. Last sentence doesn't really make sense because she just dies after that. And obviously, she's going to be great in Arena because all chaotic units have something going on with that. And for hers, it's a reduction in cost, which means that back in the days before people started running Cyrene, Valeriya was actually the top tier unit for single target DPS. But that's obviously changed quite a bit now. And yeah, she's just, outdone by all those other new units that have come up. And then her ultimate increases the damage by 120% at max level. Each attack consumes 10% of current HP and generates one stack of Power the Sword, which is that burst that she does to 5 targets towards the end of her ultimate. So ultimate lasts for 16 seconds. And this burst damage increase goes up to 1120%. And this is great for certain areas that you probably are aware of already. That's Gear Dungeon 2, dealing with the top waves that come in, and also the physical Volca clone. And then the other area will be Void Rift Epilogue, stage 5 and 6. That's where a lot of the melee units thrive. So, as I said already, she's not going to be the most amazing fighter anymore. She's still great, but a lot of other units beat her in what she does. One of them is going to be Adeya, obviously, and Lugaru doing really well in single target now, even better than Valeriya. And then you have Arrogance for the AoE stuff. Salazar, single target, also not that great anymore. Another one of the units that sort of got power crept. And then you have Adeya, Last, all of which are great units. So if you have any one of those, then Valeriya might not be that essential anymore. And coupled with the fact that, we know that this banner was launched to, keep us entertained before the update comes, but we know that there are a lot of new units that are about to come that, are just stuck behind the updates. So I would try to save up if I could, unless you're lacking Valeriya for areas like Gear Dungeon or in single target arena, you have now the units like Valderon, Lugaru, Sagak, then maybe Valeriya is quite essential for you. And she has pretty decent awakenings. A1 being an extra 100% 100 attack speed. A2 is extra attack, and then A3 is where the money is at with that 20% defense ignore. A5 just boosts that burst that she does at the end, so not as useful if you ask me. And then A4 is just crit rate, but yeah, this just makes it easier to build. So I'll say unless you're lacking in that two areas, being gear dungeon or single target arena, you don't really have to go for her. She's not an uncommon unit. People do pull her on normal days. So yeah. And then next one is gonna be Brokkir, arguably the best tank in the game, if we don't count ancient units. If we talk about the best tank, that's gonna be Cyrus for sure. But Brokkir comes close. He has been the best tank in the game for a while. Not many people have actually used Cyrus up till recently. So you can see firstly, Talon grants physical and magical damage reduction to adjacent allies. That makes him great for Gear Rate 2. And then when possessing freeze, this reduction goes up to 30%. And he gets freeze in many other areas. First one being his unyielding spell. So when receiving fatal damage for the first time, he gains freeze and becomes immune to all damage. This lasts for 12 seconds. And then the other freeze that he has is his ultimate. Gains freeze and a shield equal to 80% of max HP, which makes him great for Gear Dungeon 1. Because with shields, the mobs can't actually lifesteal off him. Other areas that he's going to be great at are places like Guild v Guild, where you need an absolute tank. People normally use Brokkir in conjunction with Valkyra so that he gets that second life with his unyielding, and then a third life when Valkyra actually revives him. And they both belong to the Northerner faction, so it works out really great there. And he also does some freeze on enemies, when he receives damage, but this is not that essential. It's not a big part of his kit, in my opinion. Other areas of freeze, A1, when his ultimate ends, he actually inflicts freeze. This is great for Hellfire Codex, as well as GVG. And then A2 is extra HP. A3 is increased healing and shield effects. And then this is just damage reduction. A5 is honestly where the wheels are going with him, because with this A5, you can essentially just run Brokkir without any healers. I know people normally do it for Valkyra, so Brokkir sort of gets like 4 lives in that sense, because after the iceberg, he actually restores to 100% HP, and most of the time, because it's getting hits in between that, he's gonna get his rage up again with his ultimate as well. So absolute tank of a unit. You use him in Void Rift as well. You get Oleg for free. So if you need another tank, Brokkir is going to be the answer. That's how I got through Void Rift all the way to Void Rift Nightmare. You can use Isolde as well, but Brokkir has some freaking good stats. So much easier to build as compared to, someone like Isolde. But once again, he is a pretty common unit, so I wouldn't go out of the way to try to summon for him. And yeah, these are the two units. One thing I forgot to mention as well is that Valeriya actually has 2 tile range when she does her ultimate. Normally it's 1 tile, so that's how she's actually usable in Gear Dungeon 2 as well. Because in the middle lane you normally have a tank there, so if you use Valeriya's ultimate, you get that extra range to hit behind a defender and still keep her alive. And another important thing to take note of is that Gear Dungeon 2's Volca actually has a buff where every time units die, she gets increased attack. But if let's say Valeriya is the one dying from her ultimate, that doesn't actually count towards that damage counter that Volca builds up. So that's why she's so great there, and pretty much not replaceable unless you have super strong units otherwise. So that's gonna be it for the video. Let me know down in the comment section if you do have any more questions on whether you should summon. I honestly will hold out because once the update comes through, a lot of other good banners will start coming in as well. So these units are also not that uncommon, so I'll just might as well save for them. So that's gonna be it for the video. There'll be more upcoming videos featuring Valeriya, how to use her if you just got her, and tips and tricks that I have from having used her since her launch. And yeah, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like or subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.